Today we're going to be taking a look at the Bandai Tamashii Nation's SH Figuarts Civil War Iron Man Mark 46 figure. So what is going on, everybody? How is everyone doing today? Daredevil19 here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the SH Figuarts Civil War Iron Man Mark 46. Now this is a figure I'm not extremely excited for. I have owned a bunch of the other SH Figuarts Iron Man figures, and they are the best 6-inch scale Iron Man figures that are around. Tamashii Nations does amazing jobs with them, and this one looks just as awesome. But anyway, let's get into the review and start off with the packaging for Iron Man. So Iron Man comes in the same style packaging as the SH Figuarts Civil War Captain America, but instead of the box being blue, his is red, so that's pretty cool looking. There's the front of the box right there, of course. We do get the window, says Iron Man Mark 46. Very nice artwork on the bottom, says Marvel, Captain America Civil War, and a bunch of other stuff. And then the bottom of it is the barcode and blah 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 stuff that nobody cares about. The top of it really doesn't have much going on, and then the side of it says Team Iron Man Mark 46. And then there's the other side of it right there. And then the back of the packaging shows a bunch of different poses you can get the figure into along with some of his accessories. But anyway, that's the packaging. Let's get this figure open and take a closer look at the Mark 46. And right when you take the figure out of the box, we do get this warning right here, and it says may rub off, and they're talking about the paint around the shoulder right there, so that kind of sucks. You just have to be a little careful when you articulate the arms. But anyway, continuing on. Alrighty, so taking a closer detailed look at the Mark 46, and man, Tamashii Nations really did an incredible job with the detail. The paint looks beautiful on this piece, and the sculpt work looks amazing. I mean, just look at the paint work. I really dig that red paint. That looks awesome. The helmet looks dope, like usual. They always do a nice job with all their Iron Man figures, to tell you the truth. We do get some translucent plastic on the eyes right there. Nice sculpt and paint. Very clean paintwork throughout the entire figure, so that is a big plus right there. I like the way the back of the neck looks, like how it looks like his armored metal spine. That looks dope. Very tiny, such tiny detail with the paint and the sculpt, and it just looks fantastic. There's the back of the figure right there. I really like the way the upper back looks. I mean, the sculpt and the paint look awesome. Even the lower spine piece right there looks cool. Just be careful, these pieces right there, they're just a very thin plastic and they feel like they could snap off easily, so just be careful of those two pieces. There's the arms right there. I like that little silver piece. And then these pieces right there. And I like how you could see the screws, and they even sculpted the line on the head of the screw right there. Just that tiny detail makes a figure that much better, and I love how the joints blend in perfectly with their Iron Man figures. They always do a great job with that. There's the torso right there. We do get his arc reactor, but no translucent plastic over it. They always put it on all their other Iron Man figures, but they decided not to with the Mark 46, so that's a little disappointing. I just like all the tiny little screws you can see everywhere. I mean, that looks dope. Great tiny detail just around over here, around the midsection. And then up there as well. Arms look cool too. Just a extremely well executed figure. I just have that tiny little paint flaw. They didn't put enough red paint right there, as you can see, so that's a little disappointing, but that's the only paint mistake I see on this Iron Man figure. Great sculpt and paintwork on the legs, like I said, besides that little piece right there. And I love the way the knee joints blend in perfectly. All their Iron Man figures are like that. The joints, the elbow and knee joints just blend in perfectly with their Iron Man figures. I like the way the back of the legs look on the calves right there. I mean, that looks dope, even down there around the ankle. Very cool looking. Here's another screw, another one. There's screws all over. I like the way this piece looks too. And then his feet are die-cast metal, just like with every SH Figuarts Iron Man figure. And then these pieces are on hinges too. And the bottom of the feet right there. I mean, overall, Tamashii Nations once again did an amazing job with another Iron Man figure, and it is well worth the money, I think, especially if you're a big Iron Man fan. But anyway, let's continue on. Moving on to the accessories, and if you have any other SH Figuarts Iron Man figure, you know what type of accessories to expect. So we get 3 sets of blast effects, 2 for the hands and then 1 for the feet. So we'll take a look at the feet one first. Now these are meant for when he's flying around for flight poses. And they do have pegs at the end of them because they just go into the bottom of his feet. They did put some nice white paint on the end as well. Very nice sculpt work on them also. So nice sculpt work on these. And then it is a very nice orange translucent plastic. I like how it's a lighter orange, then blends into a darker orange. So very cool looking. And then there's the peg inserts, as you can see on the bottom of his feet. Insert them like so, and then there you go, as simple as that. So we do get a pair of those for his feet. And then we get a pair of smaller ones for his hands, which are meant for when he's flying, so for flight poses. You can use them as blast effects as well, but nice white paint on the end and nice sculpt work on them too. Pretty cool looking. They do have peg inserts, as you can see. And then it is that lighter orange translucent plastic, and then blends into the darker orange. And then we do get interchangeable hands with pegs on the palms, and you just insert the blast effects like so. As simple as that. So we do get a pair of those, and then we get a pair of blast effects right here. Nice orange translucent plastic, and then it blends into a darker orange with some white paint like frosted on there at the end. Nice sculpt work too, and then they do have the peg inserts. And just peg it into the hand like so, and as simple as that. So those are the 3 pairs or sets of blast effects, and then we also get 8 interchangeable hands. We do get a pair of fists, of course. Let's focus the camera here. And great sculpt and paint work on these. We do get silver right there on his palm for the repulsor blast. And there's the top of the hand. Very clean paint work. And I like how on the fingers you can see all sculpted lines all throughout them. So very nice work on that. We do get a pair of fists. And then we also get a pair of open resting hands, or you could use them as open palm blast hands. Very clean paint work around the silver right there for the repulsor blast. And as you can see all the sculpted lines on the fingers. Very cool looking. And there's the back of them. Nice clean paint work. So we get a pair of those, and then we get a pair of karate chop type hands. Great sculpt and paint work on these. Man, they really killed it with this figure. So we do get a pair of those, and then the last set of hands are the open palm blast hands with the pegs on the palm for the blast effects. But great sculpt and paint work on these. But anyway, those are all the accessories with Iron Man. Let's keep moving on with the review. So now for the height of Iron Man, he stands a little bit over 6 inches tall, and then here he is compared to the Hasbro Marvel Legends Wolverine figure and the SH Figuarts Mace Windu figure. I don't have the Captain America Civil War figure, but he stands the same height as Mace Windu. And then here he is compared to the SH Figuarts Harley Quinn figure and the Variable Action Heroes Monkey D. Luffy figure. And then here he is compared to the SH Figuarts Awakening Warrior Super Saiyan Goku figure and the SH Figuarts Super Saiyan Vegeta figure. Anyway, there's some quick comparisons. Let's keep moving on with the rest of the review. So now for the articulation, and if you have any other SH Figuarts Iron Man figure, you know what type of articulation to expect. We do get 1 point at the upper neck and 1 at the lower neck, so the upper neck joint, the head looks up about that much, and then down about that much. Really doesn't look down at all. We do get some nice pivot up there, and it does swivel as well. The lower neck joint goes forward and back. It does pivot and swivels as well. So we do get some pretty good movement at both those neck joints. The torso articulation only goes forward about that much because it gets hindered by this piece here. And then it goes back about that much. Do get some pretty good pivot there, and it does swivel as well. The waist goes forward and then back. Really doesn't have good forward and back movement. Do get some okay pivot, and then it does swivel as well. Now for the arms here, I would advise, the figure comes out of the packaging with his arms pushed in, but you have to shift them out. I would advise to always leave them out so you avoid the paint rub around the shoulders right there. So just leave them out all the time so you don't cause any paint rub on your figure. But the shoulder pad pieces are on hinges, so you can articulate them up and down. And we get a beautiful armpit joint in there. Look at that great movement. And then the arms go out to the side a lot more than 90 degrees, so that is good. They do go up and down. We do get the bicep swivel. Double jointed elbows that bend in a little more than 90 degrees, so that is good. And then the wrist is on a ball peg, so you can move it in any type of position you would like. So nice movement at the arm and shield is there. Now for the legs, they do shift down. They shift down a lot, actually. And then they kick forward about 90 degrees. They go to the back a little bit, and then they kick out to the side. Wow, 90 degrees. So nice movement there. And then we do get swivel up at this joint. So it can swivel up there, and then it swivels at the upper thigh right here. So you get 2 points of swivel at the thigh right there, so pretty cool. Now for the knees, they are double jointed, and they bend back all the way, so that's good. And then these pieces on the top of his foot, you can hinge them up and down. Now for the ankles, they do swivel. They hinge up just a little bit and then down just a little. Not the greatest up and down movement at the ankles right there. And then they do pivot as well. And then we do get some toe articulation. So overall, we get some great movement with this Iron Man figure, and I am very satisfied with it. But overall, I do recommend this figure, especially if you're a big Iron Man fan and you're collecting the SH Figuarts Iron Man figures. Yeah, pick this one up, but I don't think it's a must-have for your collection if you're not a hardcore Iron Man fan, so you can pass on it if you already have like the Mark 45 or something like that. But Tamashii Nations did an incredible job with this piece. The only issues and complaints I have with this figure, one is being the articulation around the torso and the ankle. We really don't get the best movement there, but the rest of the articulation I'm fine with. Another one is that warning that we got with the paint rub around the shoulders. That makes me a little worried articulating the arms. And then the last thing is there's a little paint mark that isn't fully painted on the left front thigh, so that's a little bit disappointing, but other than that, they killed it with the paint. It looks incredible, the sculpt looks great, the accessories are fine, and the articulation is pretty well done for the most part, so any Iron Man fan will be extremely satisfied owning this in their collection. And if you would like to get this Iron Man Mark 46, he does retail for about 50 through 70 bucks depending on where you purchase it. I had mine imported from Japan, but you can check with my buddy from agelessgeeks.com because I know he got a bunch of these in stock. But anyway, that is my review of the SH Figuarts Civil War Iron Man Mark 46. Hope you enjoyed my review. If you want to support the channel, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and favorite the video too. And if you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, just give it a thumbs up anyway because action figures are awesome. But thanks for watching. I will see you later. It's SH Figuarts Civil War. Who would you buy for? Yeah, I've owned a bunch of the just instead of the color bling, what the heck, much going on, and then the side of it says Team Iron Man, what the hell was that? So now for all the articulation, and if you have any other your SH Figuarts, of course, you know what type of articulation. So now for the articulation, and to expect with the articulation, especially if you and then we get a pair of resting hands or open hand. Top of them there. But anyway, those are a little. What the hell was that? Nice clean paint all around on these. Whoops, dropped it. And dropped that one too.